Howdy, howdy, howdy. I hope y'all are all doing fantastic. Welcome to the very last Cliff Notes Live of 2021. Can you believe that? We are at the end of the year. Well, almost. I mean, we got a few more days, but we're for all practical purposes, we are at the end of the year, and I'm so happy y'all are here to share this very last week with me. I hope y'all are all doing fantastic. Before I start, don't want to forget SKD 143. Love my wife. I love my kids. Love all of y'all out here. I love reality TV fans in general. I hope y'all are doing fantastic. I hope y'all recovered from your Christmas celebrations. I know I just about had to roll in here to get set up. I eat a lot. We'll talk about that tonight during the show itself. But I'm sure y'all partake of a little bit as well. For those of you up in Canada, Europe, pretty much everywhere except the United States, I think. Happy Boxing Day. I guess it was yesterday, but close enough, right? We don't do Boxing Day down here. We're so busy thinking about returning gifts and getting new sales and all that, I guess. We got that instead. I'm going to turn down my. All right. Sorry for that. I hope y'all are still out there. I'm trying to put it on here. Better? I hope so, because I think I'm gonna just leave it the way it is. See, there you go. Save up all this kind of stuff for the very last of the year. All right, well, whatever. You know what? It's a live show, and hey, at least I didn't curse or anything, right? Now I hope y'all are all doing all right. Let's see who all's out here. Before I get too far away from the comments, Brian Hostetler. Hello, sir. How are you doing? And Angie Hung. Well, welcome, Angie. I guess you didn't have your gymnastics this evening, so thank you for joining in. Lori A as well. Lawrence Santiago. Hey, Lawrence, how are you doing? Yeah, looking like I lost some weight. We'll talk about my little teaser and yeah, if you didn't realize, maybe not all of that's me. Andy W, howdy, howdy, howdy. Yeah, I kind of hate to see Christmas end as well, although I don't think I could survive if we had Christmas every single day, right? Jake the Snake, Maryland, Sutherland, Ma, let's see, I think I said out there earlier, just crossed the Virginia state line, almost home. Well, welcome, almost home, Ma. You live in a wonderful, pretty state. Really, I enjoyed Virginia while I was there. All right, let's see. Mark Taylor as well. Can my Michigan beat Georgia? I don't know. Georgia's pretty good, although they showed they got a little Achilles heel in that last game. So yeah, I don't know. We're gonna find. It's gonna be great. Oh, it's gonna be such a great game. And let's see who else I've got here as we go through here. Amanda Lowe, howdy, Amanda. Howdy, Patty Brooks as well. Julia Shepard. I got so many of my friends out here. It's so neat seeing all of y'all out here. Paula Scar as well. Michelle Moore. I hope I didn't miss anyone. And if I did, I apologize. All right, I think I'm caught up. And now we can talk about all kinds of things. First of all, let's talk about Andy W. Andy W. had a white Christmas. Well, congratulations. Did not have a white Christmas down here in Houston. It was hot. It was in like the 80s. You'd think we were along the equator or something, right? We have had a few white Christmases here in Houston over the years. But when we talk white Christmas, we're talking about just enough snow that dust on the hoods of the cars that you can go scrape it off, make a little snowball or something. Now we had 1 or 2 years where we had enough snow that my kids could actually go outside and make little snowmen and things like that. But yeah, for the most part, not a whole lot of that. Now, was that Angie? Minus 30 degrees C in Calgary. All right. I've been to Calgary in the wintertime, Angie. I've been to Edmonton in the wintertime as well. I know how cold it can get up there. And then you add in that breeze that comes in, because it doesn't seem like there's, being up in those plains of Alberta, doesn't seem like there's a lot to stop anything up there. So yeah, I know. All I know, and I think I've said this before, Calgary has a tunnel system. Was it the L5s, I think, or something? It's amazing. I was up in Calgary. I could spend days and not ever have to go outside because I just use the tunnels to go, not tunnels, sky bridges to go from one building to the other. Fantastic. But we didn't have to worry about that down here in Houston. We just had to worry about breaking a sweat. So yeah, a little bit different kind of Christmas, but that doesn't matter. Hey, we were inside celebrating. Hey, it meant that I didn't have to fire up the fireplace, which meant Santa had a whole lot easier time getting down the chimneys here in Houston than he did up in other parts of the world, right? Yeah, didn't have to worry about getting singed anything down here. I got a little Christmas story. In fact, I'll just do that right now before we do anything else. I was going to do this last week, and I just got so busy doing other things. You know how it is. I start talking, and the next thing you know, it's 8 o'clock or 9 on the East Coast. I haven't had a chance to cover half the stuff I wanted to cover, but got a little story for y'all about me growing up, Little Cliff, and Santa Claus, and all of that. My grandfather served in the military. He was Army, but then when they started the Air Force, he went over to the Air Corps at the time. He flew planes. He actually, I've told y'all before, he was a stunt man and did a little stunt acting and stuff in Wings, the very first Academy Award winning movie. And so he was in the Army for a long time. He eventually retired out of the Air Force, and they lived up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There was a huge Air Force base up there called Carswell Air Force Base. And lots of times my brother Robert and I would go out to Carswell along with my granny hog and granddaddy hog. And they'd go to the commissary, buy groceries, do stuff that just normal stuff you do. But once or twice a year, right before Christmas, we would go out there. And it was always kind of a big deal because they had a special store set up just for toys, just a toy store, some base facility they turned into a toy store right before Christmas. And my grandparents would take my brother Robert and I out there, and we would walk through the store looking to see what we wanted for Christmas. And we'd do our little list of Santa of 1 or 2 items that we wanted, probably more like 5 or 6 items probably. But we both filled out our list. And I remember this one particular year, we got through filling out our list, put it in an envelope, addressed it to Santa on the outside, and said, "Oh, this is great." Walked out to the car, and my granddad said, "Well, I've got some connections. Rather than just put it in a regular mail, I'm going to see if one of these fighter pilots that are getting ready to take off, I think they're heading to the North Pole, and I'm going to see if they'll take the letters directly to Santa Claus." And my brother and I were like, "Whoa, we're getting first class service here. Yeah, go for it." So he got our 2 letters. And then he looked up and he said, "Oh my gosh, those planes are getting ready to take off. I've got to go fast. I'm going to do everything I can. Just wait and see." So he takes off running. Now he may have run back over the direction kind of where this toy store was, but he ran kind of the general direction of the runway. And my brother and I are sitting there thinking, "I hope he makes it. I hope he makes it." Probably took 15 or 20 minutes before he came back. And he had a little bit of a sweat on his face. And he said, "All right, guys, here's the deal." They were already going down the runway. I got the people on the radio, said, "Nah, they didn't get the Santa letters. You got to come back." The fighter planes came back, stopped. I ran out to the runway. I gave y'all's letters to Santa Claus directly to the pilots. They said that their first stop is the North Pole before they go do some other stuff. So they are going to deliver your letters directly to Santa Claus. And talking about being impressed. Yeah, we were pretty certain that year that Santa was going to see our letters, that maybe we'd get some of the things that we asked for. And, it worked out pretty well for my grandparents. Imagine that they just happened to walk us through the store, pick out the things that we wanted. And then my granddad was able to spend 15 or 20 minutes away from the car, talking to the fighter pilots, right, and giving them the letter. And sure enough, we got several of the things on our list that following Christmas. But yeah, I remember my brother and I telling everyone at school, saying, "We got special treatment. Our letter got parachuted down right onto the North Pole. Those elves had to see those airplanes coming over and took those things directly to Santa Claus. We moved straight up to the top of the list." So yeah, I felt like a 7, 8-year-old celebrity right then, that knowing that my letters got sent by fighter planes to the North Pole. So yeah, I'm always remembering that story. My favorite things that my granddaddy told a lot of stories like that. He always told stories about to having to get the fighter planes. One year, Santa got stuck in the chimney, and he had to go up on the roof and pull Santa out, and he saved Christmas for us and everyone else in the neighborhood. He had a lot of Santa stories that always kept kept myself and my siblings enthralled. Maybe that's where some of my storytelling came from, is listening to him telling some of his stories, and then my granny hog. I think I told y'all before, she may or may not have run bootleg for the mob as a young woman and had her wild streak to her. She's the one that taught all of us how to play poker and some things like that. So yeah, kind of got my wild streak from the grandparents, I do believe. So there you go. There's my Christmas story. I didn't want to get out of the Christmas holidays without telling y'all that little one, because it's one of those stories that just is always stuck with me. All right, let me see some of these comments. I'm talking away and I look at the comments. Let me see. Ma had a rough week. Well, no, I don't want to hear that. Was sick between Tuesday and Friday, throwing up and a leg hurt. That is, either one of those is not great at all. But better before Christmas time. See, there you go, Ma. It's a Christmas miracle, right? It's the power of Christmas. It's the power of Festivus and every other holiday that we celebrate. So now, well, I am sorry that you had such a rough lead up to Christmas, but I'm glad you got better by then. I've been watching people talk, several online that tested positive for COVID, or they had someone else that tested positive. So they were all having to quarantine and miss out seeing family. I know there were airline flights that were canceled and some people missed out traveling. It was just a tough year to celebrate Christmas because of all this stuff's going on. Hopefully this is the last year, right? 2022 coming up, and I hope it's just a nice normal year without all this COVID and everything else we've had to deal with. We'll see. I don't know if I can handle another year of it, but no one asked me either. But no, so I know a lot of people had some difficulties with Christmas, but I also hope everyone got a chance. Fortunately, we've got Zoom and everything else. So even the people quarantined at least got to hopefully communicate and hang out a little bit with family and friends over in different locations. You were sick, and that sounds horrible. My week leading up to Christmas, not quite so bad. I had a task of myself. It was a Herculean task. I almost didn't think I would achieve it. So y'all want to know what my job was? Well, my wife gave me more than one job, but one primary job that I had before Christmas, and that was to find elbow macaroni for our macaroni and cheese, because in the Hog household, you can't have a holiday celebration without macaroni and cheese. That's the rule we've got here. If you have to, do without the turkey, do without the ham, do without everything, but you got to have macaroni and cheese. And I couldn't find macaroni anywhere. I guess it's supply chain and COVID and everything. I found little macaroni. I found big old rigatoni. I found bow tie pasta. I found everything that you could imagine except for the nice little elbow macaroni. And I was going from grocery store to grocery store. I don't know what made me think if first 5 didn't have it, that the 6th would have it. But I eventually did make it to one grocery store that had one bag of elbow macaroni. Only about half of what we needed, but at least it was a start. And then in another grocery store, I found some kind of defective elbow macaroni. I don't know. I think they forgot to cut it in 2 or something, because it wasn't just a little elbow. It was a spiral all the way down. So good enough. Even if we have to cut it ourselves, it's going to work. So I was able to, it was the day before Christmas before I found those last 2 bags, but I was able to find the spaghetti. Now, the pasta for the macaroni. Now, what I didn't realize is I probably found, as it turns out, more than you normally cook in your macaroni and cheese, which just means we had a big old pot of macaroni and cheese to celebrate. I still have a little bit in there. I had it for Christmas Day. I had it for Boxing Day, and I had it on a sandwich for lunch today. So I'm doing pretty good. I got my macaroni and cheese. All right, let's see. Well, and again, Mom, sorry you had a rough week. That wasn't good, but I'm glad you're feeling better. All right, Mark Taylor saying, do you recap? The recap of the challenge. It was very interesting. I love the challenge this season. It was so much fun. And I think we may have talked a little bit about last week. Yeah, I knew Casey. I think by now it's okay to talk a little spoilers, right? It's been a few weeks. I knew Casey had won, or I was pretty sure she'd won, because I'd talked to a lot of people back at the boxing challenge in August and all that. So I knew about her, but I didn't know about CT winning again. I'm happy for both of them. I love the challenge. It was a great season to watch. So yeah, I did that. All right. Lauren saying, my son forgot to write Santa one year, so I had to email him on December 23rd. Hey, Santa Santa can get messages all kinds of ways, right? I have a feeling there's a lot of parents that have probably done some very last minute phone calls and emails and everything else. And hey, Santa works on a dime, right? He's got those elves ready to jump into action. So that's all right. It works out fine that way. Amanda Lowe, are you watching Yellowstone? It's great. No, and every person I talk to is watching Yellowstone. I talked to my son. They've been watching Yellowstone. Everyone says it's fantastic. I need to. I've watched the first 2 episodes or so, and I liked it. It was just we watched it and then got busy doing other stuff, and I haven't gotten back into it. I've got to get that certain amount of binge time availability to watch it, because I know once I start watching a few episodes, I'm just going to want to watch all the way through. And I know there's a lot of seasons to it. So now I have it, but I've heard so many good things about Yellowstone. I feel like I would empathize, and I don't know, I was going to say fit right in, but kind of a lot of plotting and violence and mischievousness and everything else, right? So I just like the Big Brother house. All right, Michelle, do you put a pickle ornament on your on your tree? No, I don't. But it is so funny that you mentioned that, because one of the shows that we did watch over the extended Christmas weekend was Blown Away, which is on Netflix. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but these glass blowers just make amazing, wonderful things with glass. And one of the things, it was their Christmas special, and they had to make ornaments. And one of the people making ornaments actually did make a pickle and hit it on a tree and explain the whole tradition that whoever finds a pickle first on a tree gets a first present or an extra present. I don't remember what it is, but no, we don't have a pickle that we had in the tree, but I'm thinking next season I may do it, and I may not tell anyone. I'm just going to see if anyone actually notices a pickle hanging from the tree. Oh, Misfire, it's good luck. Okay, I wasn't sure what the symbolism of that pickle in the tree was. The pickle growers of America, thank you. Right? Yeah, it's a funny idea. I mean, it's green. It fits in with the tree. Do you hide a little bit gherkin pickle, or do you take one of those big old dill pickles? I don't know, but I may try it. I may try it next year. I may put a couple of pickles in the tree so everyone gets good luck. That seems like the way to do it, right? But now, if you'd asked me that a couple of days ago, I would have said, "What the heck are you talking about, pickle and tree?" But now I get it. Now I get it. You learn something new every day. Andy W. When I was stationed in Kinsley Field, Santa would come on a fighter jet. Now you talk about impressing some people. Who needs a sleigh? That sleigh's probably nuclear powered, fast. It's got to be faster than light to get the whole Earth in 24. Actually, I always say it doesn't have to be 24 hours, because you got time zones, so it actually could be 48 hours or so. If you start as soon as the day turns on one side and you work your way around. But yeah, I still have a feeling a fighter jet probably would beat the Santa sleigh on most races. You got to stop and feed the reindeer every once in a while. Fighter jets probably have a little more range as well. But yeah, if I was a kid, I see Santa coming in on a fighter plane, I'm gonna be pretty impressed as well. I remember one season, we actually took the kids to see Santa Claus. I think this was when we were up in Oklahoma City. So what, 1995, 96, somewhere around there. But not only was Santa there, but they actually had reindeer parked outside, and that was pretty impressive. We got to go out and see a couple of reindeer, and I think the story was that, well, I'm not pulling the sled with all the toys, so I don't need all the reindeer. I just need one or two to get me back home. And I remember one of the kids asking, so, well, do you ride the reindeer like a horse? Where's your saddle? And Santa said, no, it's all magical. You don't need a saddle. Get home just fine. But yeah, all right, so that's pretty cool. Fighter jets and Santa seem like a pretty cool combination, because we know how fast those things are, right? All right, let's see. Linda Acuff. My kids only like medium shells for mac and cheese. Not sure where that came from. It's all about the tradition, right? Inside the Big Brother house, I know I've said this before, so I won't spend forever with it. But Tommy made the most exotic, amazing macaroni and cheese. It's all handmade. I think the pasta wasn't, but he made all the cheeses by himself, the sauces by himself. It's just the most phenomenal meal I've ever had of macaroni and cheese. But then I just took the little Kraft macaroni and cheese that you buy for 80 cents, $1 at the grocery store. I made some of those, and yeah, it wasn't quite the depth of flavors and everything that Tommy had, but it kind of felt like home a little bit, even though my mom and my wife both homemade, their mac and cheese and everything. It still kind of just reminded me of home. Actually, it reminded me of college, where I spent 4 years living on pretty much cheap old boxed macaroni and cheese and chicken pot pies and burritos that you can buy from the frozen section for like 39 cents a burrito. I ate a lot of those while I was in college, but nah, I get it. Everyone has their own tradition. I like that elbow pasta. You've got like the shells, whatever floats your boat, right? All right, let's see what else. We've got Sue Hogg. Do you have something you would like to share? Ma saying, is mom out there? If so, howdy, mom. I haven't seen you. I'm trying to catch up. Lawrence, are you recapping Amazing Race? No, I thought about Lawrence. I truly did. And it was cool because I recapped the last season, which has been forever now. It's been a while, right? But I recapped the last season. And you remember it had Leo and Alana and Will and James and Michelle and Victoria. It had a lot of teams that were fun to watch. And most of them were at Hearts of Reality. And it was so cool when I showed up in Orlando a couple of weeks ago and they were there. And I got to talk a little Amazing Race with them. And I talked to Leo about was it in Kazakhstan with the movie set and trying to see everything and how hard that was. I got to talk to Will and James about winning the whole deal. And here's a little thing. I don't know how many of y'all remember, but in the very last episode of The Amazing Race, when Will and James won, they had to go through king cake in New Orleans. Go through all these cakes, and the tradition of king cake is the baby Jesus is hidden in one part of the cake. They had to go through all of these before they found the baby Jesus, and it took them forever, and they just hated it. Well, at the wedding, because they got married not too long ago, at their wedding, the groom's cake they had was king cake, all different flavors stacked up one on top of each other. So the thing that caused them the most grief during the Amazing Race, they turned around, made a bit of a joke in the king's cake and showed me a picture. It was really cool. So I love the Amazing Race. I absolutely, it starts a week from Wednesday. It's so neat. And James had told me that they tried to take all the same teams that they started with this past season, then they had to shut down for COVID. They did 3 episodes, then they had to shut it all down. He said they were able to get all the teams back except for one. I guess there's one team that moved on somewhere else. So I don't know if they brought in another team or what, but everyone who's competing had already done the first few episodes and everything shut down. And so apparently they're just starting right there and they're going to continue the process. I am so excited for the season, but no, I am not going to be recapping it, unfortunately, for 2 reasons. One, because both my kids are getting married next spring, and I just know my hours are going to be very limited in terms of free time and all that. And 2, because we got Celebrity Big Brother coming up, season 3 of Celebrity Big Brother, and I'm planning to cover that in some form or manner, and I just don't know if I can do both shows at the same time. So we'll talk about it on Monday nights. We'll talk a lot about it because I just love Amazing Race. So yeah, we'll talk, but I'm not going to have an official hour dedicated to it. At least that's not the plan right now. You know, things change, but probably not. Mark saying, any word on Celebrity Big Brother? So far, it's a secret. It starts in a little more than a month. Yeah, I know it. And I was trying to research in past years, like Celebrity Big Brother 2. They didn't announce who the celebrities were going to be until, well, I guess it's a little bit like regular Big Brother. You didn't know until right before the season started. And I'm sure that's the case now, even more so because of COVID and because of last minute everything. And you don't want these celebrities knowing who the other celebrities are going to be before they actually get in the house. So I don't expect we're going to hear anything until the very end of January, the 1st of February, probably, before we find out. But I'm excited. I know based on the first 2 seasons, there's going to be at least a couple of people that I've kind of not even thought of. I'm going to say, oh, they're going to be perfect. They're going to be so much fun. Give me someone like Tom Green for season 3, and I'm just going to be a happy camper. It is still cool when I look at the first 2 seasons and think, man, all the people that were in there, Dina Lohan and Tom Green and all, it's like they slept in the same rooms I slept in. They use the same kitchen, the same refrigerator I used in. It's like my almost brush with celebrity fame, right? That I shared a room that now these people are sharing. That was kind of cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Big Brother 3, but no, I don't think we'll hear anything about it here for a while. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Karen Berkey's. Congrats on the upcoming wedding. Yeah, upcoming weddings. They're both getting married. My son is getting married. My daughter's getting married. And it's going to be so much fun. They're both getting married here in Texas, but 2 different cities. And Yeah, we're gonna be a little busy, but I'm gonna have the biggest smile on my face the whole time. My future son-in-law, my future daughter-in-law, just incredible people. My kids deserve the finest, and they got the finest. And so, yeah, we are so happy as a family. I can't wait. We'll do all the weddings, and then somewhere down the road, maybe Sharon and I'll go off and go do some fun things on our own. Because right now, it's all about getting all the family together for the weddings. And yeah, it's gonna be really neat. Lawrence saying, "Is Tommy working Broadway now?" No, Lawrence, not yet. And now that Broadway's been shutting down a little bit more, even than earlier because more COVID. I know here in Houston they were doing the Little Mermaid at our local Broadway, show type place, and they ended up shutting it down early because they had so many people that started getting infected with COVID, and they just had to cancel it all. So no, the short answer is no, he's not. The slightly longer answer is he wants to get back into Broadway. It's just things need to ramp up, get a little bit more up to speed. Now, here's what you may not know. Tommy has been going to school. I think he's going after a psychology degree, and he's almost there. I think he said he only had a few more classes, like one more semester, and he's going to wrap up and get his degree. So Tommy's been busy. He hadn't been sitting around while COVID's been affecting all of us. He's been going to school and doing all that, and is just about done. But yeah, I know he's not ready to stop doing the Broadway dancing as well. So it's just a matter when they have the new casting calls. I guarantee you, Tommy gets one of those Broadway shows. I haven't figured out how to do it. I'm gonna be heading up to New York. I don't know if he'll appreciate it. He's gonna be sitting there on stage doing his dancing and everything, and he's gonna hear me out in the crowd. Because you know me, I don't have an indoor voice, right? I am sure he'll recognize my voice when I'm hooping and hollering probably from the upper decks way up high, but I'll be Tommy, that's my boy. Hey, Tommy. And I'll get him to grin and smile while he's doing his show. And yeah, it'll be a lot of fun once he makes it back on there. So, and one of these days, now talking about Broadway, I did do one thing that was pretty good. Well, our whole family did. We went and saw the new version of West Side Story. It's amazing. Yeah, y'all know the old one, right? That came out in the 60s, the Natalie Wood and all. One of my favorite musicals, but it's been redone. Steven Spielberg redid it, released it. He released it the weekend of Hearts of Reality, in fact. But we went and saw it, and I was just singing under my breath the whole time and kind of dancing along a little bit, sitting there in my seat. It was great. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of updated a little bit, but they still kept it based in, the 50s or 60s, New York and all of that. But they changed some things. They have a lot more because it's all about the Sharks and the Jets, Puerto Ricans and the Caucasians not getting along back then and all of that. And they've got a little bit of the Spanish conversations and all happen. So Steven Spielberg, I knew he's going to do a good job, and it was fantastic. But it's really hard to beat the original. That was such a classic movie. So we went and saw West Side Story, and never seen it on Broadway. I've only seen the movie, but no, I really enjoyed it. I've had the song stuck in my head ever since. Everything free in America, and on and on and on. It's such a great one. All right, Lawrence. There's been a Trump-related person on the first 2 seasons of Celebrity Big Brother. Kellyanne Conway, Tiffany Pollard, Bowie Hogg. Yeah, well, never say never. I got to say, I could see that. I could see my brother going on saying, Cliff was on Big Brother. Now it's my turn to get back in reality and beat him by going in this house and do it even better than he did. Yeah, I could see Bowie doing that. If he does it and I don't even know anything about it, I'm going to have to shake his hand and say, you are a better secret holder than I ever imagined or could ever envision. Because I sure haven't heard anything about it. But it would be interesting. When my brother was on The Apprentice, he was, 21, 22 years old, 22, I think. Now he's a little bit, that was back in 2001. So he's got a few more years on him. Be curious to see how he would handle that. And I don't know how he'd handle dealing with Julie Chen and a whole bunch of cutthroat people inside the house instead of just having to deal with Donald Trump. I gotta say, I think Donald Trump's a lightweight compared to some of the deviousness of people that you get from inside the Big Brother house. I'm not putting them up against anyone. I'm surprised more Big Brother people haven't gone into politics, just because they obviously show they can They could lie with the best of them. They can backstab with the best of them. They would fit right in, right? Nothing against politicians. Just have them a little, just joshed in a little bit, right? Uh, so we got that. All right, now talked about watching West Side Story. I did watch, and for those of you who saw my teaser, they probably know where I'm going with this. I did binge watch one show. Now it wasn't Yellowstone, but I binge watched one show this past weekend. Good old classic Christmas theme and all that. Yeah, it's the Matrix movies. Oh my God. The Matrix, when I first watched it, however long ago that was, it's been 20 something years. It's amazing. When I first watched it, it was amazing. It'd been enough time that we watched the first three all over again before we go watch the fourth one, which is now out of the theaters on HBO Max and everything. I haven't watched it yet. I thought I'd watch it before tonight and be able to talk about it. Man, it just didn't happen. But we watched the first three. That is still just the cinematography on that, the themes of it, everything. Such an incredible trilogy of movies. Now, it's a little hard to follow. And there are parts when I watch all three of those movies and just find myself getting lost and thinking, man, I must just be a complete idiot because I have no clue what is going on right now. But I think they almost do that intentionally. It's a little bit like some other shows, like 2001 Space Odyssey, one of my favorite movies ever, but I had to watch it about a dozen times before I finally start figuring everything out. I feel the same way about The Matrix, that there's just a lot of things that I just completely go over my head, and I'll need to watch it a few more times. But I loved watching it. I love the fighting scenes. I love the whole idea that what's reality, what's not, what's perception. It's just cool. So yeah, I want to know, for those of you who watched the fourth one, is it don't give me spoilers, and I don't want to hear any spoilers, but am I going to like the fourth one if I like the first three? That's what I want to know from you guys. But it was great. You know, I do have one little story about the Matrix and some of my travels around the world. I watched the first Matrix and it was incredible. The second Matrix came out, and I just happened to be over in Abu Dhabi, which is part of the United Arab Emirates. I was over there. I was staying at a hotel, and I realized that this little theater complex across the street from my hotel was showing the sequel to The Matrix. And I said, all right, I got to go watch it. So I went over there, feel like it was in the middle of the night. Now, first of all, it is burning hot. It's like 120 degrees over in the UAE in the summertime. So it was hot. So it was nice getting in a movie theater with that old air conditioner just blowing full speed. But it was the first movie theater that I ever sat down in that had the big old comfy lounge chairs and the feet that kicked up, and people actually would bring drinks to you instead of you having to go out to the concession stand and get stuff. It was, for back then, I think I paid $20 or so for a ticket. So it seemed a little high, but whatever. I was in a foreign country, but I was treated like a king in there. One of the very few people in there. I had the place pretty much to myself, just sitting back. They had the high speakers, the bouncing around, the shaking of the seats, everything. Incredible way to watch a movie like that. So yeah, that's my experience from watching the second Matrix. But yeah, I binge watched that over the weekend. And now I'm ready. By next week, I'll have watched the fourth one, and I want to talk about it. I want to see what y'all thought, and I'm gonna tell you what I thought about it as well. All right, Lawrence saying the Matrix is basically a worldwide version of Big Brother. Yeah, tell me about it. In a lot of ways, I think you're right. It's and that's what I feel like I picked up on, or not picked up on, but what I really kept to while I was inside that Big Brother house that other people did so much, that we're in here. We're completely different people. You're playing a game that forces you to be rotten and sneaky and devious and a liar and all these things that are designed to create drama and conflict. So why in the world should anything that we do inside this house reflect who we are or what we do outside the house in the real world? Because we're playing a game that's designed to bring out the most awful part of people in a lot of ways, right? Not that I didn't have fun in there, not that I didn't get to know the other people and everything within the house, but it's a little bit like playing poker or anything else. It's just a different world inside that house. You're completely cut off from the rest of the world. So yeah, when I played Big Brother, I guess that's the equivalent of me taking the red pill, or I don't know. Maybe Big Brother world is more like me taking a blue pill, and the real world is when you come back out and realize that was just its own little microcosm of life and everything else. But yeah, I'm sure you can find some interesting symbolism and themes between Big Brother and the Matrix. because they are certainly two different worlds, right? But yeah, it was a lot of fun. All right, travel the world. Tuesday is 2/22/2022. It seems like every other month there's something that's tying these, 2021, what is it, 1/02/2021. There's so many of these anagrams, I don't know what all you call them, where you can flip the things around and have all the same digits. I'm just amazed that it's getting ready to be 2022. I remember as a kid thinking, oh my gosh, 2000, I'm going to be 35 years old. I'm going to be ancient by then. It's so far in the future. And now I look back and think, well, geez, that was year 2000 was 22 years ago, right? It's a long time ago. So yeah, when I was a kid, 2020 was what we used to describe when we'd be in the futuristic times. Oh, when we're at 2020, we're gonna have the flying cars. We're gonna have all the colonies set up all over the universe, or at least the solar system. And the 2020 is gonna be when we're into the next phase of human existence and technology and everything. Well, here we are, and we aren't quite there yet. Although we're doing a lot about it. I stayed up a couple of nights ago and watched the Webb telescope get launched up into space. They launched it from French Guiana, so the countdown was in French, which was kind of cool. It was trois, deux, un. I don't speak French. Décollage instead of launch. It made everything seem that much more fancy just because it was said in French. But watch the telescope launch up from a rocket. I think the European Space Agency, Canadian Space Agency, and U.S. Space Agency worked together. Spent decades building this telescope, and supposedly it's going to just see 1,000 times farther than the Hubble telescope. And they're already saying they think it'll pick up millions of new planets and everything else. So it's just a matter of time. But that's the other movie I watched over the weekend. It was Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I guess I'm kind of on an alien alternate reality, what the future holds kind of kick for me. But yeah, we're not there yet with the flying cars, but we sure as heck are getting closer every day, aren't we? So yeah, that was I did that as well. Watched that. All right, what else is going on? Let me look through these real quick. Mark, was Fessy in Orlando? Did he deserve the lambasting he got on the reunion? I'll give you a little secret. I didn't watch a reunion show. I don't know, because too many of these people I've talked to and I consider friends and all of that, and sometimes I just get uncomfortable when I start seeing them kind of griping at each other and everything. So I didn't watch the reunion show, but yeah, but no, Fessy was there for a little while. He went over and he and Josh and Nelson were the three challenge contestants that were there. Casey and Nani were supposed to be there and had to drop out last minute. But yeah, Fessy was there. Talked to him for just a minute, and no one gave him a hard time at Hearts Reality. We're sitting there, we're interacting with the Wish kids and all of that, and so everyone was on best behavior, great terms and all of that. And I didn't really talk to Fessy too much about the challenge itself, because this was Hearts of Reality was the week before the finale, and so yeah, I don't know. I figure they're probably getting asked about it so much. I didn't want to be just another guy coming up asking Fessy, so we talked about other stuff instead. Did Fessy deserve what he got in the reunion show? I'm not sure what all they hollered at him for and all that, but you know what, Fessy, I like Fessy. He's a nice guy. I want to see him have to eat horrible things next time he's on the show. I've said this before, so I'll keep pushing for that. But beyond that, man, I got no problem with Fessy whatsoever. He's a really, really nice guy. Again, just like Big Brother. Sometimes when you get inside that show, you're driven to act the way you act differently from outside the show, because that's what the producers want. I've always wondered that about the challenge. How many of those fights are people really getting upset with each other versus just having some producer whispering in your ear saying, no, are you really going to let him go say that about you or whatever? I feel like there's got to be a little people whispering and pushing, trying to get you worked up so you'll create good drama for TV, right? It's got to be. So now I don't hold anything I see on the show against them, and especially Fessy, and Josh too. Josh is a lot like you see on some of these shows. Unlike other people, he's always just got kind of smile on his face. He always maybe just a little emotional and all of that. He just always wears his heart on his sleeve, which isn't a bad thing. I like both those guys, fantastic. Angie saw the new West Side, the new version, loved the original and this one. Like the dancing in the original better. It's hard to beat Rita Moreno, right? I mean, I like the dancing in the original better. I don't know. I'm not a dancer, so I can't comment one way or the other. It looked fine on both of them, but I I mean, I like the flow maybe of the new one a little bit better. And there were some scenes they changed up a little bit. You know, Officer Krumsky was in a different setting, and there were some things that are a little different. But I can't. I'm not ever going to argue with the original. I just loved it. I used to go to the library and listen to the soundtrack of West Side Story sometimes, just because I didn't have it at home. It's just thing. I want to listen to some of that music again. So yeah, you can't beat the original. Someone's going to come along one of these days and say, yeah, we want to redo the Sound of Music. I'm going to say, you're crazy. How do you beat the original? And you never will, but they could maybe do it, and it'd be interesting to watch to add along to the other one. Rita Moreno did get to sing on this new version as well, which was cool because I didn't know that. Tommy had seen it, and he told me, said, I know you've seen the original, so I don't feel like I'm giving you any spoilers by talking about any of it. And no, you're not. But he did tell me about Rita Moreno singing the new version as well. So he did keep a little bit of a secret. And I appreciate that because it caught me off guard. All right, Ma, let's combine the Matrix, Squid Game, and Big Brother. Yeah, I will throw a little Hunger Games in there just to complete that quadprecta, something, I don't know, for. Yeah, no, it's all about going after each other, right? You know, in the old days, we had the gladiators. Well, I wasn't born just when they had the gladiator battles and all that, but the Rome had the gladiators. I feel like there's always a little bit of a bloodlust that people want to see. We still have MMA and that, the Ultimate Fighters, not so we have that even today. Humanity's always just wanted to see people go at each other, and I like to think maybe it's not so much that we want to see the blood and the destruction, but we want to see how people respond when they're stressed out and pushed to the limits and all that. I'm going to assume that's what we're looking for. But yeah, we've always had that kind of element of our entertainment. So shouldn't be different nowadays, right? At least in Big Brother, they don't give us weapons, which probably a good thing. Cause I don't know. I would have held my own, but there's a lot of people I was in the Big Brother house that I just would not want to put a weapon in their hand. Weapons enough coming out of their mouths, much less give them something that actually cuts or shoots or anything else. So yeah, I picked the best of Squid Games, Hunger Games. What else do we talk about? Big Brother, Matrix. I picked the safe one, so I'm pretty good with my decision. Cindy Heyer, did you wish Nicole a happy birthday? Well, yeah, absolutely, I did. Her birthday, for those of you who don't know, her birthday is the day after Christmas, and so yeah, I told her, I said, all right. You got to have all your Christmas dinner and Christmas presents and everything else. Now go blow out the candles on your birthday cake and do it all over again. And so, yeah, I absolutely wished her a happy birthday. And she came back and said thanks. And Nicole is the biggest Dallas Cowboys fan now. And it's because her boyfriend, Brian, is a huge Cowboys fan. I don't know how that worked out since he's not from down here. But so now they're both huge Cowboy fans. So I'm sure they were celebrating her birthday, watching the Cowboys whoop up on Washington last night in a football match. I've told them, I said, all right, just another reason that y'all got to come down here to Texas, and I'll give you a tour of Jerry World where the Cowboys play, and I'll pull strings. I'll get y'all in to see the locker rooms, whatever I can do. It'd be a lot of fun. I know they'd be impressed. So yeah, but yeah, she had a fun birthday and a fantastic present by watching a big old victory by the Cowboys. So who would have thought Nicole was a football fan? I asked her one time while we were in the house, said, so do you cheer for the Jets or the Giants? And she's like, I don't know. I don't remember what she said, but she wasn't real committal on either one. Not a huge fan while she's in the house, but hey, things happen, right? All right. Travel the world, the Jetsons. Oh, I missed that comment. Let me see on here. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll get back to it. I love the Jets. Yeah, 2020. It was all going to be the Jetsons back then, by now, right? We're getting closer though. I mean, we've got we got people that put those little hover packs on. They can go flying around everywhere. And how long that's going to be before two people crash into each other? And I think we need a little regulation of that. But yeah, we're getting closer every day. Now, having said that, I got a couple of gifts for Christmas. I want to mention this to y'all. Yes, I got a little time. I got a couple of cool presents, and thinking about the future is what made me think of this. I got a book for my son. I don't know if you can even see it on here. Called Artemis. It's by Andy Weir. Now, I don't know if y'all know who Andy Weir is, but he's the guy who wrote The Martian. It was a book, amazing book, and then it was a movie with Matt Damon, I think. about a guy, an astronaut who gets stuck on Mars accidentally and how he survives until he gets back. Oh, just the most incredible book. So my son got me a book, Artemis, and it's all about the first lunar colony and a woman who's on there, and some things happen, and she's got to do a lot of stuff to survive and save herself and all that. So he knows what kind of science fiction I like, and so he got me that book. I'm excited to read it. It's cool. I haven't read an actual paperback book in a while. I'm so used to having my iPad and e-reader and all that. There's just something special about a book where you get halfway through, and if you really like it, you start getting towards the end and you think, oh my gosh, I only have 100 pages left. This is so fantastic. I'm getting ready to get to the end. I don't want to get to the end, but I'm so excited to find out what's going to happen. Something magical about reading a real book. So he got me a book. I'm so happy for that. My daughter got me another gift, and I don't know if y'all ever seen this before. Well, that doesn't work so well. There you go. Don't Get Got. It's a party game that I'm so excited to play. We'll probably do it next weekend, maybe for New Year's Eve, somewhere next weekend. Everyone that's at the party gets a little envelope with different tasks that they have to do. The task may be that get someone to spell out your name for you, or get someone to open a jar for you. Just all different kinds of tasks. And the first person who can get someone in the house to do all the different tasks for them wins the game. So it ought to be fun, because now suddenly, if we're playing this game and I have someone come say, hey, Uncle Cliff, could you open this jar for me? I mean, look at him say, do you really need this jar opened, or do you just, are you trying to complete one of your missions? Because they're all secret missions. No one knows what they are until they're completed. So yeah, my kids got me some really, really cool gifts. I'm looking forward to playing the game and reading the book both. All right, let's see what else we've got going on. Let's see. Post a full review of Artemis. Lawrence is saying, all right, yeah. Well, without giving away spoilers, I'll give y'all more insights as I read through the book and let you know if it's anything like The Martian is. One of my favorite books that I've probably read in the last few years. If it's anything like that, then I'm already ready to give it 2 thumbs up. But we'll find. Yeah, I'll read it. I'll give y'all an update on what's going on with that. All right, Lawrence Santiago, Ma needs to try some good lobster bisque. I'm so far behind in the comments, but I saw that. I love me some lobster bisque. Oh, that sounds so good. We don't get as much of it down here in Houston. That's a little bit more New England, right? But I'll travel up to New England and get some. Brian saying, check out Lost in Space. The final season came out. Yeah, I need to get back on that. I watched the first season. I'm trying to think if I made it through the whole first season. I watched a lot of the first season, and then it just kind of tailed off. And there were episodes I would watch that I really liked, and in other episodes I was like, it's a little cheesy. It's Lost in Space. When has Lost in Space never been cheesy? One of my favorite TV shows growing up was Lost in Space. The Danger, Will Robinson, Danger, and Mr. Smith. That was great. Penny Cartwright, who had been in The Sound of Music. Talking about Segway. We talked about that earlier. Yeah, I love Lost in Space, the original. I watched the remake, but I just haven't made it all the way through. So that's got to be 5 or 6 seasons, right, Brian? I mean, that's because it seems like it's been quite a few years since I watched that first season. All right, well, add it to the list of movies and TV shows that I need to binge. Somewhere down the road, when I retire, it's going to be I'm going to have a whole list of shows. I'm going to say, yeah, I remember 15 years ago, I created this list of all these shows that I needed to watch that I never had time for. Well, now there's time. Yeah, right. Even after I retire, I'm still going to be busy doing other stuff, I'm sure, but I'll find time for it. All right, let's see. If it comes from the sea, it doesn't go on me. No, Ma, that's not the way. There's some fan scouts. All right. I'm just kind of rambling here, but I got to tell y'all one more thing I did before it gets too late, because we're only 10 minutes out. For Christmas Day, a little bit of a new tradition that we did this year. We went to a Brazilian steakhouse, a churrasquia. I can't pronounce that correctly. A Brazilian steakhouse here in the Houston area. And it was amazing, because here's the thing with the Brazilian steakhouse. You pay one fee to sit down. You got a little button. One side's red, one side's green. As long as it's on green, the waiters just keep coming by bringing all kinds of food for you. And unless you tell them no, they'll filet mignon, ribeye, shrimp, scallops, everything. Lamb chops, every kind of cut of meat you can imagine. They just keep putting it on your tray. We ate there. I have never eaten so much food. Maybe that's a little stretch. It was a lot of food. I haven't eaten like that in a long time. You'd think I was back in the Big Brother house, as many steaks and everything else I was eating on that particular Christmas day. They brought everything out. And the reason I said that, Ma, because they had scallops wrapped in bacon. They were so good. So yeah, just because it comes from the sea, don't not give it a shot, because they were fantastic. I was down in Rio de Janeiro once for a business trip, and they had these churrasquias on the Copacabana beach, of all places. Well, not on the beach, the street behind the beach, but it was one of these. It was a Brazilian steakhouse on one side, and it's a Brazilian seafood house on the other side. But both of them worked exactly the same. So we went into the seafood house, where as long as you left your little button on green, they brought out crab legs and lobster tails and scallops and oysters and every kind of salmon and bass and everything else you could ever imagine. More seafood. It was incredible. So I love those kind of restaurants. The key is they tell you the salad bar is free. Go get your salad bar first. But you can't eat the salad bar because they want you to fill up on all the cheapo lettuce. And I'm not doing that. I had to save up and save up just for the meat. I ate my fair share of it. And one of the reasons I had to kind of roll into the house in order to do the show tonight, because yeah, I did pretty well. I certainly represented Texas well in terms of putting a big dent in the steak population of the state of Texas for Christmas Day. All right, let me catch up with some of these comments. Let's see, Amazing Race, we talked about that. What are my resolutions? My resolutions are to kick COVID in the ass and finally be done with it. I don't know. My resolutions are to make sure that my two kids have the most amazing weddings possible, that the family all stays healthy, that we all stay together. Those are my resolutions, just to make sure that everyone stays happy and healthy and everything goes nice and ordinary is what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna start running again. I kind of put that off, but I still want to start running again. So that maybe that of all resolutions is going to be the one that is kind of the official type resolution I'll do. All right, let's see, what else do we have over the last 5 minutes or so. Seeing a lot of comments for Yellowstone, and Miss Fire saying plastic pickle. Now, if I'm hanging a pickle from the tree, it's going to be a real pickle. So let's see if their nose identifies there's a pickle on a tree, or their vision and lets them see it first. Okay, and the person who finds a pickle gets an extra present. Yeah, we're gonna do the pickle. I may do that for every holiday from now on. It may be a pickle on the Christmas tree. It may be a kumquat inside an Easter egg or something. We'll see. All right, Will and James from Amazing Race. That's such nice guys. I had so much fun. They are so tall. Oh my gosh, I did not know how tall those guys were until I met them. Have I seen Spider-Man No Way Home? I am so far behind on Spider-Man, Lawrence. All the Marvel, DC comics, there's so many of them. It seems like they come out with so many. I can't keep up with them. Do y'all know the last two Marvel or DC comics that I saw probably was Captain America, which I loved, and I know it's been out forever, but I really love Captain America. And while I was inside Sequester, right before I went into Big Brother, I watched Batman versus Superman. And they just had that as one of the DVDs available, so I watched that. Those may be the last two Marvel shows I've seen. So no, I haven't seen Spider-Man, but I want to. It just hadn't happened yet. Moss saying, is it a coincidence that your kids are getting married at the same time, or do they plan it that way? It's just the way COVID works out. Yeah, they're similar aged. So much stuff has been delayed because of COVID, and then it opened back up, and it's just the way the timing worked out. So I guess a little more coincidence than anything else, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be an exciting couple of months as we get them both married. Get them married. They're taken care of. But yeah, I'm so happy for them. It's gonna be, the Hog family is gonna be doing a lot of celebrating next spring. All right, let's see what else we have on here. Cindy said you're late. Well, I already answered a question for you, so I'm even later than you are in terms of getting through these comments. All right, what else do we have on here? What else was I going to talk about? All right. Told you a story about Granddad Hog. Told you a story about churrascaria. I still can't pronounce those Brazilian steakhouses. Oh well. Talked about the Amazing Race. All right, I got what else? 756. Wow. All right. Did Fessy deserve it? See, I've already answered these. I'm still getting caught up on them. All right. One more little story. Someone asked me last week about traditions that we do, and I talked about ornaments and Christmas stockings and some of that. We did another tradition that we've done for quite a few of the years past for Christmas. It was a lot of fun. We watched, and it started 10:30 or 11. So we watched midnight mass from St. Peter's Basilica over in Vatican City. The Pope led the service. Now I'm not Roman Catholic, but it still is the most amazing ceremony because there's so much grandeur in St. Peter's Basilica. Hey, it's like 150 feet high and just gilded everything, and there's just so much pomp and circumstance. And we always watch that kind of as the last thing before we shut it down for the night. No one will wake up the next morning and it's Christmas and all, and it just kind of gives you the reason for the season and all that. So yeah, we watched midnight mass, and it's always interesting. They give a lot of explanations of different things that are happening, and they always have kids from all the different continents that are all showing up carrying the baby Jesus, and they're all dressed up and they're so excited and all. But it was kind of interesting this year because as the Pope walks in and again as he leaves, all the people in the audience are all holding up their cell phones to take video of the Pope as he's going and coming and everything else. And they just seem kind of weird that you're in church, but you're videotaping. It's almost like he's a celebrity instead of the officiant or something. It's just weird. And I get it. If I'm over there and the Pope's walking 10 feet away from me, I'm probably up there taking a picture as well. But it was still church too. So I don't know. It was weird. But now we always watch that and just listening to the music and everything. It just kind of puts us in the right mood for Christmas. So that was kind of neat. All right, let's see what else as I go through these real quick before we shut it down. Let's see. Anyone remember C-Lab 2020 and or C-Lab 2021? Yeah, the one I liked was Space 1999, which was futuristic and very cheesy, but fantastic. All right, Zachary Weiss. Sorry this is coming so late, but it was a true pleasure meeting you at Hearts of Reality. Thanks for making it so special. Zachary, thank you. We had a blast there, didn't we? Meeting everyone, and I know, and I should have mentioned you. And I know Champagne was a girl who watches this as well. Shout out to you as well, Champagne. But Zachary, yeah, it was so much fun hanging out. I got to fanboy with everyone else that I'd only seen on TV before then, and they're so nice. They're such nice people. I guess the really rotten reality TV people don't go to things like this. They don't go to the charity events. So we got only the best of the best. But yeah, I had so much fun hanging with everyone. And then there were people who were there that were just fans of reality TV. And I know I spent just hours talking to different people about things on our season, things that happened. And so it wasn't just us who've been on reality TV talking to each other. We got to hang out with the fans as well. And that was a lot of fun. I had a blast. I'm already ready to do it next year. I've already sent an email, in fact, to the guy who heads up saying, hey, just keep me on the list for next year because I plan to be there. It was so much fun. So yeah, Zachary, thank you for your participation as well. And you and we're just the same. I think we were both a little bit in awe of some of the people that were there. So yeah, it was so much fun. I had a blast doing it. Lauren's saying I had a Moderna booster. Well, congratulations. Yeah, we'll kick this one of these days. We got to kick it, right? And Cindy saying next year I will be there. Oh, good. Cindy, all I got to say, if you're there next year, not that I'm not going to be there anyway, but yet more incentive for me to absolutely make sure I show up. And you better track me down on night number one and make sure that we connect so I can say howdy to you in person. Because that's, as much as I love talking to all y'all guys out here, it's a shame that we're spread across all over the United States and Canada as well. How cool would it be if we were all in the same city? We just get together for a little meet and greet and watch some of these reality TV shows in person. That would be my wish list. I don't know how we would ever make that happen, but how cool would that be? That'd be a lot of fun. All right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and shut it down because it is 8:00. And so I got to shut it down so we can get ready for New Year's Eve 2022. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. I guess I'm just ready to kick 2021 out the door. I said a year ago, yeah, let's hope to God 2021 is better than 2020. I'm not complaining too much. There's a lot of good things that happened this year. So you take the highs, you take the lows. What is it? The facts of life. You take the good, you take the bad. There you got it. The facts of life or something. See, I remember my old TV shows. And same thing with years. We had the good, we had the bad. But I'm ready for 2022. No one's allowed to say COVID anymore. It's going to be gone. We're going to talk about it the same way we talked about the Spanish plague of 1918 and all that. Hoping, fingers crossed, right? But no matter what, guys, y'all have a fantastic New Year. Enjoy the last week of 2021. Have a fantastic New Year's. Stay safe. For those of you who get out and party and all that, stay safe. For those of you who stay at home, I'd be doing some of my got game and all that, and watching Ryan Seacrest on TV and everything else. But y'all have a fantastic New Year's celebration. Hug family, friends, loved ones, whoever you may be with, and just watch out for each other. And next time, I'll see y'all next year. Isn't that the joke you always say? I'll see you next year. I'll see you in 2022. But in this case, that's going to be it. So, guys, y'all have a great one. Happy New Year's Eve. Enjoy yourself, and I will see y'all next Monday. Until then, SKD143. Love my wife, love my kids, love all of y'all out here. And I'm so appreciative of the support that y'all show me each and every week out here. So thank you for that. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. And if I do recaps, Celebrity Big Brother, things like that, you'll get the heads up as soon as I post a new recap. So like and subscribe. I appreciate that. But guys, y'all have a fantastic one. I will see y'all next year.